Hey everybody, how you doing today? I just had a bit of a panic there. I started to, I hit my stream button and then nothing happened. So hopefully I got that all sorted out. Of course, that means that for some reason I won't have chat, or my chat's not working. So I will try and bring that up, but I don't know if I can. Yeah, oh well. Anyway, today wanted to talk about a few things. First, so last week I said I probably wasn't going to be streaming this week, but I did get back in time and refreshed enough that here I am. I'm streaming. So today I watched, I missed actually a couple of question period sessions, Tuesday and Wednesday, which is unfortunate because I usually like to catch those. And Wednesdays are particularly interesting since Trudeau and Poilievre and Singh are supposed to be in the House, but I missed those two. I don't know if they actually were there. But I do know that Poilievre apparently left today. I watched today. I didn't see anything too out of the ordinary. Although I did notice that Fergus was, well, bit biased today, and he kept on muting the mic, and he kept on saying that people should stay on topic. Basically, that the questions should pertain to the running of government, as if they weren't. None of the questions I saw that the Conservatives posed were really off topic. So I think that just was his bias. And then, of course, he did say that the ruling party or the governing party should answer the questions put to them. And of course, they didn't. Or at least for the most part, they didn't. So, yeah, Fergus just seems to be biased. I don't know if he's a nice guy, not a nice guy. I don't know much about him, but I do know that he just, to me, appears biased. I've done other videos on what would appear to be a corruption issue, let's just say. Whether or not it truly is or not, that is up for debate and for an investigation to reveal if an investigation is ever done. But I wanted to start this live stream off with a couple of things. First off, I wanted to talk about Jagmeet Singh going off the deep end. And I think he actually is off the deep end. Matter of fact, in question period today, somebody yelled out as he started his ramblings, "Are you drunk?" And that wasn't picked up by the Speaker of the House. If it was, I'm sure somebody would have been, held to account on that. But I thought that was pretty funny. Are you drunk? He did seem a little bit out of sorts, whether he was under the influence or not. I can't tell. It wasn't there, but that was kind of funny. I think he's under a lot of stress because a couple of days ago, this happened.
Will you vote a non-confidence tonight if it came up? Corrupted bastard.
Want to say something?
What?
You want to say something?
I didn't say nothing.
Who said that? You got something to say?
I didn't say corrupted bastard, but I
Is that
said...
what you said?
No, I did not say
Who said
that.
it? Who said it?
Somebody behind
said
me
it?
said that.
Was it me?
Was it you?
No.
You sure?
If it was me, I'd admit it, buddy.
Was it you or not?
If it was me, I'd admit it.
What'd you say then?
I didn't say nothing. It wasn't me. It was a gentleman behind me, I guess.
Who is it then? Point it
I
out.
have no idea who it was, buddy.
My word. You sure it's not you?
No, 100%.
You're a coward. You're not going to say it to my face. That's what's up.
Say what?
You're
If
not
I
gonna say it
said
to my
something like
face.
that to you, I'd admit it.
All right.
Now, I asked you if a confidence vote came up today.
With that aggression, is that why you're choosing war with Russia?
I'm not sure if that guy was the person who yelled out corrupt, blah, 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 questioning his parentage. But, if I was him and it wasn't me, I probably would have said, no, it's not me, but I do agree with that sentiment. What are you going to do about it? Something to that effect, if I was there. But you see, there's nothing he could do about it. And if it looked like he wanted to fight the guy, but had he assaulted the guy, his career would have been over. His career is pretty much over now. It's just a matter of time. But I think that was highly unprofessional of him. Confronting the individual like that, if it was indeed the individual who said those words, was very unprofessional. And I don't know, maybe it was the guy, maybe he was afraid to speak up. He didn't have anything to fear other than maybe being punched in the face. But you know what? Had he been punched in the face, he could have sued. He actually could have sued Parliament. He could have sued the Canadian government, because Singh is a representative of the Canadian government, being a member of Parliament, and he could have sued Singh himself. I don't think Singh would have been that stupid to do that. It's not like he came up with a racial slur or anything. It's not like he said anything that most of us haven't thought. And really, he didn't say anything illegal. He was expressing an opinion, whether it was him or somebody behind him. They were expressing an opinion. Was it rude? Yeah, it was rude. Was it true? Well, that's a matter of opinion. Did they have the right to say it? Absolutely. If they believe that Singh is corrupt, they have the right to say it. Now, do they have the right to use that particular language, those particular words? Well, that's debatable, because one could argue that it is a case of disturbing the peace, but nobody would ever be prosecuted for that. Absolutely nobody would ever be prosecuted for that. So, yeah, it wasn't polite, but so what? He is a politician. I don't really condone saying things like that to politicians, or anybody in public. We do, however, and including myself on this channel, express opinions of whether or not somebody is corrupt or whatnot. And everybody does that. And when it comes to politicians, when it comes to somebody, it's the old thing of punching up as opposed to punching down. It's accepted in our culture that you can criticize people publicly who are above you in a certain sense, as far as in the political realm. I don't want to say that he is above, or that politicians is above any of us, because I don't really think they are. But as far as status in the community and status in the political realm, yes, they are above us. We are below them. Shouldn't really be like that, though. I believe that they work for us, but they treat us as if we serve them, like we're the peasants, we're the servants. And, because of that, I think we have the right to publicly criticize them. Does he then have the right to confront them? Well, some would argue that he does, but I would argue that he's limited in what he can do. Confronting somebody like that who says something like that, it's not to the point where, I don't believe it's to the point where he should have confronted somebody to that level. I think that he stepped out of line. And I actually think that he should receive some sort of disciplinary action for doing that. But that's just my opinion. Let me know if the chat is working on your end. Put it down in the chat. Maybe I'll be able to retrieve it later, or put your comments in the comments below. I have no idea why this didn't start working correctly when I set it up, but that's just I guess the way it goes. I'm gonna do some research and see what I'm doing wrong, because clearly every week I'm doing something wrong. Last couple of weeks actually turned out pretty good, but this week again doing something wrong. Next thing I wanted to talk about was kind of the giddiness of the bloc, because it's really clear that they are totally enjoying their newfound power and that they do not care about serving Canada. But that's pretty clear as well. That's always been clear. They only care about serving Quebec. And I've mentioned this a number of times, and I'll repeat it here. I don't believe that a regional party is a good idea. I've never believed that a regional party is a good idea. A party that only serves a portion of Canada shouldn't be in our federal government, because they don't look out for the interests of all Canadians. Now the Bloc, I will hand it to the Bloc. Their latest argument, their latest what they want to plan or proposal, I guess would be the best word for it. Their latest proposal does benefit all of Canada. Whether or not it's a good proposal or not, that's yet to be seen. I think that increasing the pay for Canadians who are of the age of 65 to 75, at least that would benefit all of Canada. Is it a good idea? I think that it could be, but it also might not be. It depends on the finances. The problem that I find is that we have a lot of these programs. Now, we pay into the programs of, we pay into all of the programs that we end up getting money back from. So in that sense, it should be equal, and we should get enough money back that it makes it worthwhile to pay into. It's not like a welfare program. It's a pension program. So we pay into it, we should get the money back. What we have to balance that with, though, is what else is the government doing? Can the government afford it? Because if it results in higher taxes, then really it takes away from us. It takes away from what we're receiving in the end, and it takes away from what we can do for ourselves as Canadians, as people who are working and earning a living while we are in that phase of our lives, which is the majority of our lives. So this idea that the government has, especially the Liberals and the NDP, and to a certain extent the Bloc, is really destructive to our not only our country, but really our whole psyche, in that we are creating a generation after generation after generation of socialists, people who expect that to be taken care of. And one of the things that I was thinking when I was watching Question Period today, as I think quite often when I'm watching Question Period and people come up with all of these, the parliamentarians come up with all of these comments about serving Canada and giving Canadians all of these benefits. Well, it's the fact that they're not giving it to us. They're giving us less than what we give them. Okay, so we pay into it and they give it back. But if they didn't take it from us to begin with, then we wouldn't need it. One of the I think her name is Suds. Now that I see, okay, there it goes. Now my mic is starting to work. Okay, so I won't stop the broadcast. Anyway, yeah, it looks like my equipment is not working well. I'm not sure if I should go back and talk about what I was talking about before, because maybe you guys heard me, maybe you didn't. So this is this may have been just a waste of a broadcast. Maybe nobody has stuck around since I wasn't since I don't think the sound was working. I should have looked down and saw that. Well, anyway, so as I was saying, I don't think that it is a good idea for the government to come up with all of these programs and spend all of our money, because they're contributing to the problem of people not being able to afford to have a one-income household, and that contributes to not having people being able to have children, to be able to support a family. So that affects our fertility rate. That affects a lot of things in our culture. The breakdown of the family is a very serious issue in the West, and I would suggest in Canada we're having a huge problem with that, the breakdown of the family. So I'm really not impressed with her comments. She's giddy about getting more women back into the workforce, and I support women in the workforce absolutely, and they should have all the benefits and the earning potential that anybody else or that men have. But they should have the option, and families should have the option of having one parent at home, be that the male or the female in the relationship, whomever they choose. But they don't have that option now because the government has made it so expensive. And you could argue that that is just a fact of life. It is, a sign of the times, and that we can't do anything about that. But I'm not sure that is the case. I think over the decades, it's actually been a plan, because it is very much a socialist kind of idea that the government will take over the raising of your children. That's not right. So I'm not impressed with her comments on that. So the last topic I wanted to talk about tonight, and now that my microphone is working, hopefully there's still people around listening, is all of the Trump assassination attempts. And I know that some people may be turned off because that they figure this is just an American issue, but it's not really. It's a worldwide issue. When we start getting threats to our politicians, especially threats on their lives, this is a very, very dangerous times, and it could come to Canada, and that would be very dangerous for us as well. But we know of the last, well, a lot of people think 2 attempts, but it's probably been quite a few more than 2. Matter of fact, I just counted them up, and there's been at least 7, possibly 9, and 2 other questionable incidents. So just wanted to go over those now so that everybody is up to speed on that. Well, on June 18th, 2016, at the Treasure Island Hotel and Casino, a British fellow, a man named Michael Stephen Sanford, 20 years old, attempted to grab the service pistol from a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officer with the intended purpose of murdering Trump. Okay, he was subdued and arrested, eventually sentenced to 12 months and 1 day, and received a $200 fine. That's ridiculous. His stated purpose was to murder Trump, and he tried to disarm a police officer. That should be life in prison, in my opinion. Maybe there were some extenuating circumstances. Maybe he was mentally ill, probably was mentally ill, but he still should have received more than 12 months in jail for that. And of course, afterwards, he was deported. But that, to me, that is that's crazy. Now, that was the first one I could find. There's probably been more before that, and there were definitely some after that. Now, in 2016, in November, on November the 5th, which was a few days before the election that year, there was another incident. It wasn't an attempt or a plot, but it was definitely designed to frighten the Secret Service and Trump supporters. Basically, a person who identified as a Republican against Trump and had a sign with that regard in a crowd in Reno, Nevada on November the 5th. He shouted out, screamed out, "gun," as if somebody had a gun. Now, he was immediately pounced upon surrounded by and pounced upon by, it looks like, the crowd. So the crowd subdued him. His name was Austin Daniel Crites, I think, Crites. I'm not sure what happened to him. I don't think anything probably happened to him, although probably should have been, because it's like, screaming fire in a crowded theater. You just don't do that. Then in 2017, there was a forklift attack. This fool, what was his name? Gregory Lee Line Gang, I think it's how you pronounce it. He was in North Dakota. he stole the forklift and went towards the presidential limo because Trump was president at the time, and the forklift jammed. So he abandoned the forklift and he fled on foot, but was captured by police. And then he admitted that he was trying to murder the president with this forklift. He had the ridiculous idea that he could flip the presidential limousine and somehow that would kill Trump. I don't think he realized how armor-plated those vehicles are, but he obviously wasn't dealing with a full deck of cards. He pled guilty and got 20 years. Then there were two ricin attacks. So the first one was in 2018. And on October, it looks like I wrote down October the 1st, but I can't read my handwriting's a little messy. Anyway, October the 1st, 2018, an envelope laced with ricin was sent to Trump and several people at the Pentagon. On the front of the envelope, it was labeled Jack and the missile bean stock powder. So this guy sounds a little bit of a wackadoo. He was located 2 days later. He was the sender of these letters was located. He was identified as a 39-year-old Utah native, not as in First Nations, but a person who was from Utah. A Navy veteran named William Allen III. William Allen III. And he was charged with mailing threats. So he wasn't actually charged with trying to poison somebody, which I thought was odd, considering the next one. Because there was 2 years later, there was another ricin attack. And attempted ricin poisoning. This was a female. Pascal Cecile it's not Veronica, but the French version of that, Ferrier. And she was from Quebec, apparently, or from Canada. I'm assuming Quebec, but I probably shouldn't. So she was from Canada. She was arrested whilst trying to flee the United States via a border crossing near Buffalo, New York, after she had mailed ricin in a letter to Trump. Now, and in that letter, she described Trump as an ugly tyrant clown. So, but she was convicted of sending 8 counts, basically with respect to biological weapons. And on August the 17th of last year, 2023, she was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Although I did see another report that it was 21 years, 22, 21 years. So she was actually convicted of trying to poison Trump and sending biological weapons. But the guy in 2018 was charged with threats. So I don't know why that was. But those were definitely attempts. Now, in 2020, Gretchen Whitner kidnapping plot. Barry Croft Jr. from Delaware was arrested in this kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitner. And he had a list of potential politicians that he wanted to kill, and Trump was on that list. So that's not an actual attempt. An assassination attempt is just basically a hit list or a wish list. So I'm not counting that. I'm counting that as one of the suspicious ones. So then, of course, there was July 13th in Butler. Another suspicious one that I wrote down here, and I'm probably going to get accused of being a conspiracy theorist on this, but I'm not saying it was an attempt on Trump, but I'm saying it is suspicious. And I'm saying it's suspicious because of the timing and what has happened since, and obviously what happened just prior to that. And that was the mechanical problems that Trump Force One had while it was flying to Montana, was forced to land in Billings, but it was supposed to land at I'm not sure what it was supposed to land at another airport in Montana, but there was a mechanical issue. Why it's kind of suspicious to me is they never stated what the mechanical issue was. Now, Boeing has had some issues, and that was a Boeing 757. It's not the same model of aircraft that has received, the problems lately, but I find it suspicious, mainly because of the timing. It could very well have just been a mechanical issue. Then the one that kind of almost slipped through the radar, Tucson, Arizona, September the 12th. Mysterious incidents when numerous rallygoers became ill with eye irritations, similar to that of a tear gas exposure, like a chemical agent. Now, I've been subjected to tear gas during training. This, to me, didn't really seem like it, but the comments were that it could possibly have been CS. It didn't seem like it to me because it was more long-lasting, and it caused at least temporary blindness in some of the rallygoers. It's still under investigation. Nobody knows why several rallygoers who were seated behind Trump and to Trump's right experienced this. It was suggested, however, that on other YouTube channels that it could be similar to a microwave or energy, focused energy, kind of like an EMP type device. I don't know. I can't say. I don't want to proliferate that because I don't know. I know that EMPs exist, and microwaves have existed for decades, even decades before we started using them in the home to reheat our food. It's possible. Why I think that it could possibly be another attempt is that so many of the rallygoers, and particularly on that side of Trump, came down with the same eye irritations, and some were temporarily blinded, and several of them went to the hospital emergency ward. This is not something that just YouTubers are making up. This made the local news. It's been documented. So it happened. It would appear that something happened, and it would appear that it was an attack on Trump or on his rallygoers. However that was, whether it was a chemical agent that was dispersed, I don't think that was the case. It doesn't, to me, that would have been more widespread, and it would have been detectable. Whether it was an EMT directed energy pulse. I don't know. That is, to me, that seems kind of futuristic. It kind of seems a bit out there, but there are documented uses, military uses of such items from quite a while ago. So who knows? Maybe something exists there. I don't know. I'm not going to say it. Just, it's out there. And then, of course, on September 15th, we have the assailant lying in wait on the golf course, which doesn't quite bring us up to the latest, but it is the second latest in the on my list, and but it does have raised the question of how did he know Trump was going to be there? It may be that he just realizes whenever Trump is in town on a Sunday, he's going to be golfing. That could be that he just has a pattern. Could be that he took a chance. A lot of people are suggesting he had inside information. I don't know. He was in the bush for 10 to 12 hours. So that to me raises a few questions. Like, did he have sustenance with him, water, food, that kind of thing? Was somebody helping him? I don't know. But there's that. But after that, I don't know exactly the date this happened, but a Pakistani national named Asif Merchant pled not guilty to attempting to commit a terrorist act and murder for hire as part of a scheme to assassinate Trump. And he went to court on September the 16th, so a day after the last actual attempt, and pled not guilty. And he went to court in Brooklyn, New York. So that's a fair list of people. And the fact that there's been at least 2, probably 3 actual attempts this year, and then we go back to 2020, a ricin attack, 2018, a ricin attack, 2017, a forklift attack, and then 2016, which is the first one I could find where somebody actually tried to disarm a police officer with the intent of killing Trump. So all presidents have had threats, and there may have been instances that we don't know about, whether it was George W. Bush, whether it was Obama, whether it was Biden or presidents before them. But actual attempts that were public and that we know about, I don't see that we've had that many on presidents. Going back to 2016, then the forklift attack, and the 2 ricin attacks, and then the Butler incident, the Tucson incident, if that, whatever comes of that, and then the West Palm Beach incident, and then the Pakistani and apparently this was in relation to the Iranian threat, the Pakistani one. I think that's a lot more than most presidents have had. And there's probably been dozens of other security instances that we don't know of. So how does that relate to Canada? Well, I think it does because of a number of things. First off, these instances are getting more and more frequent and more serious. We had a Canadian who was involved in one of these instances. We have a lot of rhetoric on behalf of the Liberals and the NDP against Pierre Poilievre, and they're referring to him in the same sort of manner that Democrats in the States have referred to Trump. The Liberals try to make it out like Pierre Poilievre associates with racists and that he's going to destroy Canada. The Bloc Québécois is doing that as well. So we have a lot of the same rhetoric here. Now, we haven't had those types of instances, at least not made public, that we can point to. I think the only one that I recall that was of any significance was when Jean Chrétien had to manhandle somebody in the crowd back in the day, and he got a lot of respect out of that. And I got to say, I mean, hey, yeah. At least he wasn't afraid to defend himself. So you got to give the guy, even though I was not a Jean Chrétien fan, you got to give him kudos for that. So could this type of activity come to Canada? I think it's very real. There's a very real possibility that it could come to Canada, especially as it pertains to people like Pierre Poilievre being the conservative in the room and the target of these defamatory remarks from the Liberals and from the NDP and now from the Bloc. We have a different system, and it gets quite lively in question period. And we do have instances, but we don't normally have violence towards our politicians. Hopefully that stays the case. We don't want to become a country where our politicians are put in danger, and we want to keep everybody safe. We don't want to be a banana republic where we have an assassination attempt or an assassination of a politician. I don't know if there's ever been one in Canada. I think going back in history, there may have been, but I'm going to have to research that. But we don't want to get to that point. But I don't think that the Liberals and the NDP and the Bloc are doing us any favors by the rhetoric that they are spewing against Pierre Poilievre. And it's kind of like being the quarterback on a football team. When you've got the ball, when you're the winning team, everybody's coming at you, and that's what Pierre Poilievre is. He's the quarterback of the winning team right now. Will he take it, over the goal line? Yet to be seen, but probably. And so everybody's attacking him, which is normal. It's just that how they're doing it could end up being quite dangerous. And I think that they do bear a bit of responsibility. And when you go back to looking at what happened with Singh earlier this week and his reaction to a citizen journalist and how he overreacted, I think that we find that our politicians not very mature, especially on the left side of the spectrum. Excuse me. So yeah, that's my broadcast for tonight, and I'm going to try and figure out what I did wrong here as far as getting the chat going this week. It was working so well for the last few weeks that I'm very disappointed I couldn't get it working. I'm going to do some research on that. Hopefully I'll get it figured out. I've mentioned a few times, my computer is very old and does cause me a few problems. So that may be it. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, if anybody did. And I will be broadcasting again next week. Thank you.